there's a lot of productivity techniques and everything. This one works for me. Yes, it does, but until it doesn't. So it's good to have lots of ideas.
Until it doesn't, and it's working against you, and then you're like, ah!
Yes, yes. Today we're talking about accomplishing your New Year's resolutions. My name is Joanne, and this is my sister Danielle.
Hi.
Hello, Danielle.
Yes.
So, have you set your New Year's resolution yet?
Not as clearly as I should have.
Clearly?
But I'm still.
So you have a general idea?
I've been working on the steps that we have covered in the past 2 episodes. And so I'm taking my time. I'm doing that analysis and all of it, but I'm breaking it down to like, where do I want to narrow it down? So like, as a recap, like we really did discuss in that first one about reflecting on all the different things that we're willing to do in order to achieve our goals. And then on the second,
what we're willing to do.
Well, it is.
We'll take it all the way.
It is about what you're willing to do, because let's face it, like for me to sit there and say, I'm going to commit 10 hours a day to it. It
also has to be something you want.
Well, yeah. And then the second episode, we discussed a little bit about, choosing those goals and then really taking what we're willing to do. And that's our template. Like, does all of these goals fit into the template of what we're willing to do? And if it doesn't, throw it out.
I also think the big thing that came out of setting out goals is, how do you want to feel when you get this goal done? You want to go,
yeah. So today, from what I understand, what are we talking about?
Pride. Today is accomplishing the goal. So it's kind of the execution part. What do you do for the next year? Some tips I'm hoping we can give each other. And the way we're setting up our format now, we're going to try it out, is we're going to ask each other, go back and forth and ask each other questions. So do you want to start or do you want me to?
I think you should start.
All right.
Joanne, get your shit
You sound
together.
like you have a lot more questions, though, so I feel like you should start. But either...
No.
Okay. So here's a big one. When your motivation level drops, what do you do to keep on the bandwagon?
That's a very good question. I actually plan ahead of time of certain key action steps that I need to take when I'm noticing I'm not staying on track. And it sometimes is almost like triggers. It could be calling a friend. That is my accountability partner. It could be, sometimes it's literally getting up and going for a walk.
Do you find that the accountability partner, like you have, I take that back. You have lots of friends that would be that way. I think my friends will be like, yeah, sure, Joanne, whatever. They wouldn't
I
care.
think it depends, because I do have friends that would probably be like, whatever.
Sure.
But I think that if we're mutually being there for each other, we try to do that. Now, I will say that
accountability partners are hard to find. Is when you're blessed.
I can
if you
understand
have one.
that. I remember one of the more successful goals that I had accomplished, which was, I mean, this is a long time ago, but when I first went to beauty school, I was terrified to do it. It was something that I was a lot older than everybody there. I was very shy. I had a hard time. I don't know. I just had a hard time with all of it. And I felt very insecure. And what I decided was, every time I felt like I was too afraid to try something out or whatever, I would physically step forward or I would raise my hand, like for every single question that was asked. And understand, because I had a hard time with being wrong. And I knew I'd be wrong on everything there because I didn't know anything about it. So I had a really, like, perfectionism, and that making mistakes is really hard. But the only way you're going to grow is just to make the mistake and grow from it.
You recognized what your challenge was and and said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So
Right.
that really helped to recognize a challenge. I will tell you what, though, you were going to school, and for me, putting my money where my mouth is a huge accountability for me.
Really? See,
For
that
me.
isn't for me.
I do not like to, I know that's not for everyone, but I do not like to waste money.
I just found that if sometimes it was literally we're in a crowd and I would have to step forward if they were asking for volunteers to like try something out, and I was scared because like I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have the dexterity. I didn't have any of those things, but I recognized I had to learn by physically doing it and making mistakes. So raising my hand and whatever. So anytime I had a thought like, oh God, I don't want to do it, I made sure it became almost a habit after a while.
So, what is the other tips you have for when your motivation level drops?
I think that playlists help.
Oh,
I know
yeah,
that
music?
sounds really funny.
Music
Like
always helps.
I have certain playlists that are songs that when I hear it, I'll
I
get
think
very
it's
like,
funny
oh,
you
yeah.
call it playlist and it's not music.
Oh, because I have a playlist
I
for
understand.
relaxing. I have a playlist
Yeah.
for
I have one
like,
that's instrumental so I don't start singing to it.
I have a playlist for when I go walking and I know I'm going to walk further and longer when I listen to this playlist. I don't listen to it all the time because otherwise it gets old, but I'll listen to it when I know that my motivation's kind of low, and I
Yeah.
will literally get into a stride that's like I'm walking on a goddamn catwalk. And,
Awesome.
I'm sure I look ridiculous and I don't care, but I will walk further than I normally do. So, yeah, playlists sometimes work for me. So call a friend, phone a friend, phone a friend, taking a physical action. Like there's a book I once read. I want to say it was Mel Robbins, where she did the 3-2-1 method, where she said, or 5-4-3-2-1 method, where if you have a thought that you want to do something or you have to do something, instead of thinking about the thing that you have to do, you have to go into 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and know that every time you got to 1, you had to get up. And
Oh.
sometimes that action
I never
kind
heard
of
that one.
triggers something where you will physically do what you're supposed to do. Whereas sometimes you're like, oh, I really got to do the dishes. And then you sit there and you're like, I don't want to do the dishes. But if you go, I really got to do the dishes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stand up. Once you're stood up, the chances are you're going to go and do the dishes.
I'm going to try that. I've never tried that. I struggle.
I have to shorten it. I have to do 3, 2, 1.
Oh, 3, 2. I'd work with that too. But I would say one, depending on what what the goal is, and if I'm fully aware of it, I can see me taking a break, but saying, okay, I'm going to take a break till Monday, and I have to put somewhere visually that I will see on Monday. Okay, get back on the bandwagon. But sometimes taking a break is okay.
I also think journaling during the time that you're working on your goals, and let's say you're feeling like, well, sometimes you hit a jag where you're just not moving, right? So even though you're putting the work in, you feel like you're just not moving. Sometimes it's really important to look back at where you began or where you were a year ago, or identify somewhere in there where you made progress, because progress is progress. And then think about,
reflection.
I am
Reflecting.
doing things today that I wasn't doing when I started this. And I might not be yielding the results that I think I should have by now, but it's important to just keep moving and understand it's still more than what you were doing the day before. And I also think it's important to maybe even reassess. Maybe you do need to tweak and switch things up a little bit to get the kind of results that you want. Sometimes it's just about that motivation to troubleshoot a little bit.
I read this somewhere and I don't remember where, but I've used it and it works. This is another technique I'm flipping. They said narrate your life. So instead of, say I want to paint, Joanne's just sitting at the computer and she should be painting. And then she thinks, well, what if I just take out the paints? And then you narrate it all and as if, and it oddly works. Sometimes, not all the times, but she gets out and brings the paints. Wait, her table's a mess. She puts the paints back and starts cleaning off the table. And then, you just go into automatic mode and you do it.
I have to try that one. That's funny.
Yeah. I know, right? Right?
Yeah. Because, we are all the main character in our stories, so.
I know, right? I don't remember where I got that one from, but I remember I remember thinking it was silly, but I tried it. Because, sometimes I have, it's very difficult for me to go food shopping. This is another weird one, but this one doesn't really have to do with your goal, but I know it's an important part of life is you got to go food shopping, especially since we cook a lot. We don't eat out. And, but I hate doing it. And so there's two things I did. Set a timer, time blocking. When you go shopping, I'll be here 20 minutes. Let's see if I can beat that. And that's fun. You're gamifying it. And then, to get me out of the house, though, it doesn't feel important. And so you have to remind yourself that this task that I'm doing is for me and my family in this case. For a New Year's resolution, often it is for me. But sometimes, like, if you want to lose weight, it's for you and your family because you want, a lot of times what I hear, because I'm in Weight Watchers, a lot of times what I hear is I want to keep up with my grandkids. I don't have grandkids, but my kids in my
No,
case,
but I don't
hear
have grandkids, nor do I predict that I will. But there are times that I sit there and I think, I think of mom and dad. And I think they enjoyed their grandkids a lot.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. And and I do think it was hard towards the end of their lives where they just weren't as physically capable of doing the fun things that they wanted to do. So I keep that in mind.
So it's reconnecting with that why. So if you go back and you did the reflection and the goal setting from our other two podcasts, you hopefully wrote a why you're doing this, and this why should also carry you. All right.
So
we'll move
I'm
on
going
to
to
the next
ask
question.
you.
Sorry.
I'm going to ask you a question. I want to ask you, what do you do when you fail at tasks? You're failing at the tasks that, like, in other words, we did talk about how do you keep on track, but like, what if you are doing all the things, but you're failing? So how do you build resilience? Because resilience, I think, is a skill set that a lot of people don't have anymore. I think that, it is a muscle that needs to be flexed.
Right. This was a tough one.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to admit it, sometimes I just give up. But the times I didn't give up, a lot of it, I'm going to get mushy here, is being self-compassionate and saying, you're human, you make mistakes, because I think I'm like you, bit of a perfectionist. And maybe more than a perfectionist. I should say more than a bit. And when it doesn't go right, it's funny, the times it doesn't go right that I get most upset, again, it goes back to money. I must have money issues. I could see that with our family, our childhood. But if I try something and it doesn't work, say you're baking for the first time, baking bread, like we're doing sourdough. I'm not doing it. My family is. making gluten-free sourdough, which is, I've been enjoying the results. But say it doesn't work. Gluten-free flour is expensive. So I'd be like, oh God, I'm too afraid to spend the money again to try again. So a lot of times it's that. So I have to get over that feeling of, you know what, you're never going to get to this place of mastery if you stop yourself for money. That's kind of another issue. But I would have to say, again, reaching out to my why. Why am I doing this? Do I really want to do this? Losing weight is one of them. I'm so close. I'm like 5 pounds away from my goal weight. It's driving me nuts. But I also
it's very
picked a
funny
really good
you're
program.
saying that too, because one of the things I think about, for the longest time, I didn't quit smoking. I was able to quit smoking this year, and that's a big deal for me, right? Now, part of the reason why I didn't is because it took me a long time to lose the weight that I had gained at one point, mostly because I think perimenopause and whatnot. And I knew I was going to gain weight. I knew I was going to gain weight. Like, on a biological level, that's what happens, right? But I didn't want to gain too much because the pain in my joints and stuff like that, and just how hard it is sometimes to lose weight. Like, I just didn't want to go through this, right? But I finally went ahead and do it. I gained weight rapidly. So I had to switch things around. I worked a little harder. It's doing a lot of different things, and started to lose some of the weight. I lost half of what I gained. And I was thinking, all right, I'm on the right path, right? Because we're working at this. We're exercising, we're eating right, we're doing all the things. And then suddenly, just recently, I started gaining weight again. I'm back to the weight I was after I quit smoking. And there's this part of you that's like, well, fuck. But I have to remember, there is no other option. Even though the things that had worked for me before I'm doing, I have to change it. I have to change it. Like, it's as simple as that, because I think it's also feeling like, what is the worst thing that can happen if you don't do it? And in my head, I have a vision of, I remember what it felt like to feel like physically ill all the time. It luckily did not last too long in my life. It was around the 2020 time. But yeah, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back there. So I think that helps, remembering that, but also going back. It's very funny that we talk about the emotional side of it instead of like, yes, I am changing my strategy. That's part of it. You like, it's frustrating. Okay, this used to work. It's not working anymore. God, all right, I got to change it. That's
Switching
really
strategy is a big one. And
But-
will say there's a lot of productivity techniques and everything. This one works for me. Yes, it does. But until it doesn't. So
Until
it's
it
good
doesn't.
to have lots of ideas in
Until
your
it doesn't, and it's working against you. And then you're like,
Yes. Yes. But
And you're
so
like,
you have
how
to
is that even
recognize it.
possible?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you have to recognize it and
Right.
Yep. Sorry. Go ahead.
Especially when you're dealing with something that's on the physical side, like losing weight or getting fit, like your body does change regardless over time. It adapts to certain things. It might suddenly, like hormones might change, like everything can change.
Oh, yeah.
So unfortunately,
It's so weird too, because I'll go down the supermarket and see the foods I used to eat, and I've cut all that out. It's like, why am I not losing weight?
Yep.
The amount of food that I have cut out that was bad for me, and
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I was going to say, the funny thing is that you and I, like you were talking about the emotional part about it.
self-compassion and your why.
And for me, one of the things that really helped me when I was kind of working through different stuff, not this particular occasion. Again, I was thinking about a different time.
I'm sorry. Can I just clear up? When I say self-compassion, because I've seen people do this, you have to say, it's okay. It's okay. You are human. Try again. Sorry. Go ahead.
I have a love-hate relationship with the term faith.
Oh, God. Me
I
too.
know.
That's probably our upbringing.
Yeah. Blind faith is what we were raised with in certain regards when it comes to religious stuff. So when I hear the word faith, it kind of makes me go, I get a little tick. But here's the thing. Faith is a little bit like having faith in yourself, that you are capable of getting things done. You are capable of doing great things is really important. Having faith that it's possible is really important. And so one of the practices that I used to do is I would go for a walk and I would talk about gratitude. I would start sometimes it's very hard to find gratitude. And so I would say stuff like,
I forgot about that one. That's a good one.
Yeah. I'm grateful for that the sky is blue. I would make shit up sometimes.
I couldn't do
I'm
that.
grateful that the grass is green. I'm grateful for my kids, even though they were driving me nuts yesterday. But I have to
Mine's more of I am grateful I have a roof over my head and food on the table.
Right. But the more you practice it, the more, some days you really believe it. But anyways, I started adding in there that I was grateful to whatever higher power, universe, whatever it may be, for holding on to all the things that I could possibly want. Because really the universe is just waiting for me to get the hell out of my own way. So thank you for holding. I have gratitude. You're holding it on for me. And I am ready to accept that in my life. Like I am ready to do the work to get it. And it reminds me that I have to keep on working at this. It might be adjusting. And I know that sounds funny, but it's an emotional thing. It's like a faith thing, because if you do not have faith in yourself, faith in the fact that if you're meant to get it, you're meant to get it. If you're meant to get there, you're meant to get there. Perhaps it's the journey that is the big.
Yeah, you're hitting buttons.
That's the thing.
To get there, because that puts more whatchamacallit, you're depending on fate than your own.
No, but that's the thing. That's what I was trying to say, is that if you're meant to get there, that's the journey. That's the journey. You're supposed to be taking a journey, and you're taking this journey for a very purposeful reason. Sometimes it's not about getting to the end destination. Sometimes it's about a lesson you're supposed to learn for something greater in your life. That's the other thing I want to say, is I leave room for something bigger than I ever thought of.
Okay. I will say this. That's too much of faith for me, but I recognize that helps many people. I recognize I am in the minority. So I think you are
swing
correct.
with it. I swing with it. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, it's like, I need this. I need this. I need this. I think I'm approaching a time in my life where I may need this. Like getting back to the faith of, because there was a time where I just had blind faith in that I can get shit done. Blind faith, and I got shit done, period.
Oh.
No, yeah, I totally did. And then I think, you go through periods where you're like, things are not quite as great as it normally is.
I should say, but you get shit done. But what the question I thought was, if you
resilience.
fail at it, then what do you do?
Right. And that's why I'm saying
getting
sometimes
shit done doesn't
getting shit done is the way I always felt. What I'm saying is that when I had a period where I had faith in myself, but that's part of me having faith in myself was embracing the idea that I should have faith in myself. But then I go through periods where not so much.
Okay.
I was failing. I was not getting what I wanted, and I needed to, I think sometimes you start to lose faith in yourself. You lose that resilience. And it's like, yes, you can take steps, you can re-strategize, you can do all kinds of things. But like, let's say you're still hitting that wall. It's really frustrating. So sometimes you have to, oh God, I'm going to sound like mom. Oh God. Okay. I'm going to say it. Sometimes you have to let go and let God take over. Ah! Okay. Metaphorically.
I'm not going to say anything to that. When we get into religion, it gets kind of sticky.
And I'm
going to say this. There's a thing called you know how you have a gratitude journal and you put down everything that you're grateful for. Well, there's a thing that we go over in Weight Watchers with this one woman because she was a lawyer. It's called an evidence journal. And she says when you get a client and you want to build a case for this client, you have to build this wall to show that it's working. So you pick up evidence and you put it in. So when you're not losing weight and you think you can't stick to things, build an evidence journal. You build it for, I come to meetings every week. That's evidence that you can stick to something. And, I make dinner most nights of the week. That's evidence that I can stick to something. I ran a half marathon once. That's evidence that I can do hard things. And with this evidence journal, because your brain will like to tell you, no, you can't do it. Right. No, don't even bother. No, you suck at this. You keep making mistakes. But when you go back to your evidence journal, then you see, wait, no, yes, I can. And you got to convince your brain. Your brain is your worst enemy. You convince your brain, I can do this. I can do this. Look, I've done it before. I can do this. So in a sense, I think it's the same concept. I just didn't bring God into it.
Yeah, well, that's a thing. You have to understand and I want to make it clear. The reason I went like that is because there were times that I went to our mother for some advice and she would say, put it in God's hands.
That was her way of saying, I don't know.
Yeah. And so for a kid, that
sometimes I think it meant, I don't care.
It always was a little triggering for me. Yeah. So, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody's religious beliefs or anything like that. It's just in that instance, it was it's a hard thing for me to say. But what I'm trying to say in it is that sometimes believing that there's something greater, allow for that to happen. Allow for even serendipity. That there's, why not you? Whatever way that you want to look at it. Just sometimes you have to put it in the hands of if you're feeling completely lost with it, basically. But I like your idea of the evidence-based. I think that makes so much sense. And to add on to it, I want people to remember. I like being proactive. I want people to remember the idea.
I have nothing against about a break. Sometimes you need a break.
I want to remind people that some of the most powerful people, some of the most successful people have true imposter syndrome. And they don't understand, like they're doing all the work, but they have the same doubts that other people have. And they need to sometimes be reminded, like they could win, say, Olympic gold and still feel like, well, whatever. That person over there, they're so good. Yes, they don't have an Olympic gold like you do. Yeah, but I was just lucky.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Women do that all the time.
Yeah. So I think that's where evidence-based is really important, and also understanding for all the evidence that you have, you can also come across evidence that says differently. I want to make it clear that stuff doesn't count. And the reason I say it only counts in the sense that you made mistakes and you failed in different ways, which taught you lessons to get you to the success you needed to.
Yes.
So,
Like you answering the question every time in class.
right. And sometimes, and that, I mean, they talk about it with, like, say, Babe Ruth, like they always go with sports people. They took the most chances and failed the most, but they also succeeded the most because they took the most chances. So,
Interesting.
So,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Michael Jordan, they said, like, I forgot what it was, but he took more layups or something than any other player, but he also hit the most, but he also failed the most as well. So if you put it in that perspective, like, the more you try, the more your chances of success. It's also more of a chance that you're going to fail. And I think it's about the people that decide to do it anyways that are the ones that have the great success. Because, like, if you look at it, no matter what, you're going to fail inevitably over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. What do they say? If you do the same thing over and over again, that's what insanity is?
Well, I think that has to do with doing the same thing over and over
you
again.
keep
the
failing.
same way.
Yeah, failing.
But I think that doing things
to...
over and over again can inevitably lead to success if you're constantly working it, and really are dedicated to it, as opposed to you have some failures and you're like, what's the point? Ugh, this sucks. I can't do it. Yeah, you're going to fail.
Which brings to another concept, what I had to learn over the years, because when you're young, you're kind of stupid and just, when you hit a snag, take a moment, look at the snag. What is this? Try to look at it from all angles. Why do I keep failing at this? And that's where the growth is. You're going to have to take a second, though. You can't just, I'm going to try this way now. I'm going to try this way. It's like, no, why did this fail? Okay, it failed at this point. How can I change that for the next time?
Do you want to ask a question next, or shall I? Because I have more.
I can. One of them is, how do you track your progress? Like, how do you know you reached it? How do you know you're going in the right direction and tracking your progress?
I mean, I think with everything, it's going to be different for every person. I think journaling is really important. I think journaling and having maybe a breaking down from, like, actual tangible goals or mini goals, small goals that you're making towards the big goal. I think it could be also how you're feeling about it,
Some things are quantitative. Like, I want to lose my last 5 pounds. 5 pounds. That's very quantitative.
And I think, let's say,
of course, there's all these little things I have to do to get to that point.
Every single person is going to have a different route or path in order to get there. Let's say if your route happens to be you want to eliminate sugar, which is going to be something, I'm just making this up, like, is a great thing, but you're going to do it progressively. At least you can look back on your progress and go, well, I started here. I'm here right now. I might not be making the kind of things that I need to, but, like, at least you're able to see where the journey is, right? Mm-hmm. Or if it's about physical activity, you can look at, like, hey, I was only walking a mile in the beginning of this. Now I'm doing 3 miles. It's one of the reasons I hate, like, even for myself, tracking pounds.
Oh, right.
Especially
since there's so many other things.
Variables. Because it could be like, you could take an action, but sometimes it's an accumulation of several different actions, and that's really hard to track.
And hearing what you're saying, I would give one tip I would give is write down where you are right now. Mm-hmm. This moment, where are you? Where do you want to be? There's this thing, I don't have it with me, but it's a ladder. You make a ladder. This is where I want to be. This is where I am now. What are the steps in between to get up to here? And this here may be how do you want to feel, or it could be quantitative, 5 pounds. Mine would be lose 1 pound, lose 2 pounds, lose 3 pounds.
When I was, when I used to personal
train. I'm going to do that.
I used to do my measurements, and I would get my body fat measured, by a professional. Because I was a professional, but you should have somebody else do it for you. Nowadays, I think they have scales that have it and everything, but I don't know how accurate they are because, in all honesty, based on your water weight and whatnot, the whatever things that they do it with can be a little bit thrown off, especially for women.
I know today's technology is freaking amazing, but yeah.
But the point is that I would track it every single month. Once a month, I would, look at the numbers. Now, I think for a lot of people, it's obvious what areas you might want to reduce, but like sometimes you'll have an increase in an area that you might have not have expected, but it's actually really good, especially if you're looking at the body fat. Because like if your body fat has reduced, but yet you increased in your glutes, you just might have more of a hard ass. So like, hey, good for you. I have a flat ass. I'd like that. Wouldn't mind increasing it.
Wait, that's partially genetics though.
Well, yes, but it's also partially muscle mass.
Okay.
It's partially muscle mass. So it's all things. It's all things. But I mean, it could be arms, like maybe you don't want to reduce arms. Maybe you want to increase the muscle mass, But the point is that
now is your VO2.
I think that the more markers so in other words, when I was younger, I probably would have just done my weight. Just tracked my weight. As I got older, I realized my body composition made a big deal, or my weight and what size I was wearing, not realizing
VO2,
at the time that
heart
my
rate. Sorry, I'm looking at it. Your steps, your sleep score. It does so much data now. Your HRV, which, got to be frank, I don't really know what that is. Yeah, but I know VO2 is a big one now.
Well, my whole point is that the more measurement markers you have, the better. Like I started, like I said, and the ones, because sometimes some things aren't accurate. You'll have a bunch of other data to fall upon.
Okay, but what if it's something like, I want to be a better painter with gouache?
You need to define what you consider a better painter.
Because that's more vague.
Right, but if you're saying, I want to be a better painter, you got to think about what is your definition of better? Because obviously you have a definition.
So vague. How do you have a...
Is it though? Because you already have it in your head. I am not good enough. I have to be better at it. So what do you see in other people's work that is better than yours?
Okay, so the way I would see it is that I can copy this specific artist. And I understand the whole, your own style thing. But I want to be able to paint in her way because I love it. And then develop my own style. But, however, I don't think I can get to that point in a year.
I think you could. I think if you sat there and you were able to figure out stylistically what is the difference between my work and her work, and what is it specifically when I look at her work, what are the details that I want to...
Well, I understand all that.
Right.
I know I can get through that. It's the paint itself. Gouache is a beast. And there's other issues that I have, like detailing I'm not very good at. And I'm not good at it because I forget to do it.
So it could very well be having a list of the different skills that like this person has school, that you want to tackle.
That? What do they call that in school? They have a, oh my God, and they grade you on it. Oh my God, I forgot the name of it. I'll look it up. Rubric! That's it. Create a rubric.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to do that.
Definitely, I think you have to have some kind of like, these are the different skills that I see that I admire.
This sounds so complex.
Not really. Not really. Because, okay, what I do is I'll take a notebook and I'll write down what those skill sets are, right? And instead of looking at it as I have to improve it at this amount of level. It could be how much time I've committed to it this week or this day or whatever.
Oh, I've written in this one.
And if you are able to look back on it over the course of a couple of weeks, let's say one of the things is detailing work, and you saw you committed 10 minutes a day and
I
have
still suck at
examples
it.
and have examples of the work that you did 3-4
gotcha.
weeks ago, and then 3-4 weeks, you can look at it and go, okay, where did I improve? Where did I not improve? That way you're able to sit there and go, I need to maybe readjust how I'm doing this, or find a different resource to teach me. Or you could sit there and say, I'm a badass. Look at me. I fucking rock.
All right,
But
let's
instead
move
of,
on.
yeah, it doesn't have to
running
be
out of
so
time.
hardcore quantifiable. It can be nuanced. I was going to say that hold on, where is it?
So rubric for tracking progress, rubric or data points if you're more specific.
I have something, because I think it's really important to talk about motivation and
Right,
keeping
your
it
start
going.
point and your ending point, and maybe points in between.
And I think that's what ties into what I wanted to say, is that,
I'm just
know what your
summarizing so we
starting
can-
point and your end point is. But I think it's really important. Sometimes those first steps are tenuous at best. And I personally think there is something to be said about writing the first 3 small steps, or even 3 small mini goals. And I guess what I was going to ask is, like, do you ever think about like what resources you need, or like what questions would you ask yourself in order to plan out those first few tentative steps of moving forward in your goal?
Okay. I'm prepared for this one. I was thinking about it actually as you were questioning. So I have had issues in the past, multiple things. And I track it with routine and simple steps. And when I say simple steps, I mean, like, I have to finish up this book, and I haven't worked on it for a while. So my first step was, okay, write an hour a day, but I wasn't doing it. I was like, what am I going to do? I eventually get to the point where it is open up the app. That's a step. And then when you get it open, look at it, read it, and that's a step. Is it functioning? And I know that sounds weird, but sometimes when you leave it too long, there's funky things that go on.
Right.
And then read it. And even though I don't usually need to read it, reading it just gets me it gets me motivated again. Okay. And then that usually gets me rolling. It's really simple. Open up the fucking app. That's all you have to do. You can close it out afterwards, open it up, then open up the file.
For me, my first step, honestly, is scheduling it. So in other words, like, just like
I would ignore it.
Well, think about
I'm
it.
terrible
Like,
with scheduling.
with work, if you work a 9 to 5, whatever, you know that you're going to be do something at a certain time, and you kind of have to do it, right?
See, that's it. I don't work 9 to 5.
Having a calendar, and I mean, right now with any work that I do is now kind of freelance. So like I kind of make my own hours, but what I recognize is that I have to block off time where I am not making plans with anybody else. I'm not going to suddenly squirrel out and say, I'm going to be doing this during this time. No, like between this time and this time, I'm sitting down. Let's say I want to learn how to play the piano. Like I know at this time, from this time to this time, I'm committed to doing it. And I have it set on my phone where an alarm goes off when it's supposed to start, an alarm goes off when it ends. I have it, put it on my calendar, but it becomes like a habit. That's how I was able to work from home for so many years, is I had to do a lot of alarms to remind, and it's not just an alarm to get going on something, it's an alarm to also stop.
You get to a point where you're like, what's this alarm for now?
No, I labeled the alarms.
Okay.
Yeah. And I usually do it a 5 minute before the alarm's going to go off saying, warning. Let's say it's like even just right down to like an appointment. Like if I was going to go to the gym, let's say 10 minutes before I would leave for the gym, I would be like, warning, get ready to go to the gym. And then 10 minutes later, go to the gym. Get in the freaking car. Get in the car.
That's like, open the fucking app.
Right. Kind of like that.
Just sit there. It's okay.
And then,
but usually once you open it, it's like, well, it's not so hard to open up the file.
Right. But it
and then
could be
like,
something as
I'll
simple
just read a
as,
page.
If you are going to, whatever it may be, it could be writing, it could be learning a new skill.
It's a bit of an endorphin hit to check off. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. My daughter and I were talking about that just the other day. And one of the things I said is I've even put items that I've done that was not on the list and put it on the list just so I could cross it off.
And if you don't have like a notebook where you can kind of write down everything, like I got it done for today. This is how I felt about it. This was the result that I got from it. I'm sure, I can't think of any offhand, but I'm sure there are apps if you're more of that kind of person that you can use that they will cue you, do a little alert saying, hey, did you do your thing?
Can I make a suggestion, a tip for creatives that it took me a while? This helps very much. Okay, so you time block, you want to learn how to do the piano, but you're stuck. I'm going to say painting because piano you can actually take from somebody else's work. And you have to make your own thing. So you're sitting at your art desk. Don't have your phone with you. Don't have, unless it's an alarm, but have the alarm across the room.
Have it in another room.
Yes. And, or just even across the room that you have to get up and go. But you are there for the piano. You are there for art. Nothing else.
So
remind yourself that. Nothing else. Because if you start saying, well, I'm blocked off this time, I could get the laundry done. Mm-hmm. No. You are there for art.
If you have an Apple, there's a section here where it says focus, and you could press it, and you could put it on do not disturb, and it's for different options like personal, work, sleep, whatever. I just do not disturb.
Why do they have to? I just do not. Yeah.
I don't understand. It might have a time limit. I never explored it.
I have do not disturb. On
I
will
too. Turn on the thing turning off the ringer anytime that we're recording, and I automatically put it on do not disturb because sometimes some
except
things
for that
pop
first one.
Yeah, sometimes I do.
Remember that first?
Oh yeah, because I kept on getting all the calls from
yes!
Telemarketers. I still get them, but not as bad. But the whole point to that is not. Yeah, you're right. Not having the distraction. Turn off everything. I mean, unless music gets you going. Set up the mood, but by setting up the mood, you also have to create deterrence of distractions. So.
Okay, I have another question for you, and
okay,
actually, I have two more, but. This one, I think, is one a lot of people seem to... Anyway, so you often hear, oh, I set my New Year's resolution, but, after 2 weeks, I forgot. I hear that a lot. That's really terrible that I said it in that voice.
That's an adorable Joanne.
Obnoxious. But, no, I hear that often is, I forgot. And, yes, that's one. Or, I just gave up on it after 2 weeks. So the 2 week mark in January, let's say January 31st. How do you be like, I haven't done anything yet? Because you have a whole fucking year, people. You had 365 days. So January 31st, you haven't done anything yet. Or you signed up for the gym but haven't gone. Or went twice and you were done. What do you do at that point?
Go for a walk. Sorry, that's my...
I like that. Walk is nice.
Again, it goes back, for me, sometimes it's literally a physical movement.
If your goal is physical, I assume.
No,
right?
even if it isn't. Sometimes it's literally a physical movement to propel me forward. It's like that 3-2-1. Stand up.
Right.
If you think about it and you haven't done anything... 3, 2, 1, get up. And in doing that action of 3, 2, 1, get up, one of two things are going to happen. You're going to get up and go, okay, I can do one small thing that's going towards my goal right now, right? It won't take me any time. Or you can go, okay, I stood up. Fuck it, I don't want to do it. And you sit back down. Then you might have to reassess what your goals are.
That was one of the questions my daughter had asked was, how do you know when to that you are tired of the goal or you're frustrated, or if it's time to create a new goal, move on?
If you can't find any way of getting excited or motivated about it, and like you actually tried, like I said, 3, 2, 1 method, I have to admit, was a really good one. Because like I said, sometimes you feel so unmotivated. And if you do 3, 2, 1 and you stand up and you still don't want to do it.
3, 2, 1.
Launch, lift off. Yeah.
I don't want to do anything. I'll sit back down. Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like you might need to reassess what and decide, what is important.
How do you reassess though? Because
Ask
I
yourself,
have to admit,
what is really important to you right now? What is the difference
that's where
between
you go back to goal setting. Did you set a why? And if you set a why, is that why still relevant?
Yeah, has it changed?
Yeah.
Because also, have you received new information? Because like goals are definitely different for everyone. Have you gotten new information, feedback, input, whatever the hell it is, that made you go, maybe this wasn't such a great idea after all? Now,
Yeah.
sometimes
My
that could
problem
be.
is I get, I'm a wow Newcastle kind of person. Wow, look at that. I want that now. Oh, wait, that one's shiny. I want that. That's
Squirrel.
my issue. Squirrel. That's it. Squirrel.
Yeah. Well, I think that
Wow Newcastle is an inside joke in my family.
new
I just realized.
new information for me is usually more detrimental. Like if I get new information that makes me realize, oh, maybe this is not the right fit for me. Like sometimes I've gone after goals when it came to like, say, a career position, and I want to like, okay, I'm going to go after that, only to realize, wow, I'm getting to know this more and more. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really like it. Why do I really want this?
Yeah.
Is it like I thought it was this, but really it's this? And maybe I need to reassess. That's okay. That's normal. And believe it or not, you can also get new information. Let's say you're trying really hard to lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, whatever it may be. Only to find out that like maybe you have a physical thing that really is, your body's not going to allow you to do it at this time. You have to focus on something else that has to do with the medical condition, whatever, and that's got to be the priority. You have to shift your priorities sometimes, and that's normal. Maybe, like I've had situations where I was like, I could say this happened 4 years ago, and I was trying to lose weight, and I was losing, and at one point, I thought in my head I wanted to be a certain weight, and I got there, and I went, I'm too skinny. I mean, it was like a real thing. Like I look gaunt and I'm like, I got to gain some weight.
I was there once.
Yeah. So like
I could see the bones of my pelvis one time.
I just looked like
this
very
is wrong.
Gaunt. And I was like, yeah, no, this might not be what I want.
I couldn't stop losing weight too. That was the problem.
Yeah. So I had to
not
reassess.
Anymore. I'm fluffy now.
So I'm just saying that, like, it could be the goal. And yes, you might actually hit it and realize that, no, this wasn't what it's all cracked up to be. I want to like reassess and go a different route. Yeah. So I think that there's a lot of different reasons that it's important to reassess. Now, if it's just because it's hard to do, it's hard to get there, I think that maybe you need to look at your approach then.
I think it's my enthusiasm level goes down. And that's where when something else sparkly comes along, something new, I'm like, oh, let's go that way. When it's hard to finish because the enthusiasm, the initial, I reckon I forget the name of the graph where they say you have this enthusiasm for it and it goes way up, and then you come over and you start the project and then you go way down because you realize, oh God, this is harder than I thought, and then you come up and then you just teeter off and you finish it. It's not as what the high expectations. And they said if you can level out that enthusiasm, that helps. It's just hard for me.
So one of the struggles that I have is that sometimes I am really enthusiastic, like you said. I'm able to maintain it. I'm doing really well. And then something will happen. Like I get sick. I get the flu, right? And that hiccup will, because you're kind of not moving for a week or two. You're not doing anything. You're recuperating. You're trying to get your energy levels back up, right? And during that time, you start to think about it, and that glossiness that goes along with it, that clear direction, starts to kind of fade, because sometimes. Yeah, we look at it with rose-colored glasses, and then you go, oh, but all this other stuff I could be doing, but I'm dedicating time to this.
Yes,
and then,
yes.
Right. So
there's not enough hours in the day.
And then the irony of it is that as you're getting your energy back and everything,
and there's so many other things I want to do,
and you start to do other things, and that's nice. But you start to think, oh, I'm a failure on that other thing. And you kind of still want to do it, but then
that's
you're like,
when your brain starts being an asshole and saying, you can't do this.
So what I do think part of it is it's kind of like what you're saying about leveling out the enthusiasm. And this is the one thing when it comes to goal setting that I think I'm going to disagree with you on. Joanne, we're going to start a fight.
You're wrong, but go ahead.
You have said that you feel as though it's very important to choose just one. I actually feel it's important to choose maybe two, but have them from different aspects of your life. Like, for instance, perhaps it could be a physical, I want to lose weight, or I want to be the strongest I've ever been, or, whatever it may be. And then something else could be something that's creative or work related or whatever. Because if you are working on two different things, yes, you do have to think about your time commitment and stuff, but it's a little bit more reasonable. You're not going to go hardcore on both of them. There's going to be ebbs and flows, right? But I think that there's a way of, like, if something's not working out great, you kind of have that other one that you're backing up on. Then you can go back over to the other one because you're knowing, like, okay, you know what? Just because I'm doing this and I'm really sick, you can have a sense of success with one or the other, and it can kind of go like this.
I see what you're saying, and here's how I think of it is there's already a lot going on in your life, and those things can take over. And I will say I'm at home, and I have other things other than this personal goal, and this personal goal is that personal. And so when I have too many personal goals plus the other outside goals, it becomes overwhelming very fast. And I see what you're saying I've always told my kids about friends. It's good to have different friend groups, because when this one's being a pain in the ass, you go visit this one. I'm not joking. I do believe you should have different friend groups, but it's the same concept that you're saying. So I agree with that. However, with me, with family, with health, with a personal goal, with my outside stuff and YouTube and this podcast, it fills up really fast.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a lot going on. So this personal goal is separate from all that. So I can spend more time on this podcast maybe too, if I want to. It's like, we need more members. Let me work on this while this one is.
I think personally
there
you
is
can
already.
You can still almost
People's lives are cluttered
rank
already.
it, so to speak. I'm not saying a whole ton of like 5, 6, 7 goals. I'm taking like 2, tops 3, and I'm saying you can rank it by priority.
2 or 3, but
yeah,
I still
by priority, because sometimes
one is more likely to be successful,
right? And you have those other 2 there, but sometimes the one can get overwhelming, and you're working.
That's
working,
when you
working.
take a break.
You take a break,
365 days.
You kind of like can play a little bit of Rubik's Cube and like move around the cube a little bit. I don't know. So Joanne, you have one more question.
No, I that's pretty much it. Because the one question was my sister. Not my sister, my daughter had that. What do you do when you know? How do you know when to switch? I think we gave so many tips in this. I like this new format where we ask each other questions.
I do have one other thing I want to contribute.
One wrap-up question, because we are getting long.
Less of a question, but more of a statement.
Oops, sorry.
I think that one of the things that I have learned is sometimes the destination is not as exciting as the journey. And that, sometimes
the journey is not as exciting as the destination.
Right. The destination, I find more often than not, are kind of like, okay, I made it, yay. And it's like really very brief and fleeting. Whereas sometimes I feel as though the journey is where I get really excited about the different goals, and I feel proud of myself, and it's really great. So just remember that
See, I'm the opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I think that if you can find a way to be excited about skills that you're learning during the journey and the different opportunities.
I'll give you an example. I'm going down to the Grand Canyon again because I'm insane in the middle of winter. And I've done it a couple of times. It is a journey to be able to be physically fit to do this. Mm-hmm. Anyway, my memories last a long time. I love it there. The joy of being there and the joy of, oh man, the journey down is not easy. Or up. Up's harder, I'm saying. But my point is, I like that part of it far more than the running I have had to do 3 days a week and the squats I've been doing, and that's not fun to me.
Well, all right. So I think the best equivalent I have to that is running that half marathon.
And it's not fleeting because I have those memories.
Yeah. I was going to say running the half marathon at Disney was so much fun. Mm-hmm. But I still have the memories of the first time I got to 7 miles. Okay. I know that sounds funny, but I so recall it and being like, oh, I can't believe I just did 7 miles. And remembering. I couldn't run
5
a mile.
miles. Yeah, same here. You're the one who got me on that track, by the way. But I remember running 5 miles and crying because I didn't think I could do it.
I remember getting stuck at, I think it was 3.5 miles. And I started doing Pilates because I couldn't break it. I couldn't, no matter how much I have to walk most of it. It was just so bad. And I started doing Pilates, and I hadn't gone for a run in 2 weeks. And but I was doing Pilates like mad, and then all of a sudden I just breezed through 7 miles like it was nothing. And I just remembered not only the sense of accomplishment, but the feeling like I knew it was my back. My back would get tired from the run, and that's why I would have to slow down. It was less about the cardiovascular. So it was that aha, those different aha moments were amazing to me. And I'll be honest with you, the actual run sucked. The half marathon, that was hard.
My first one was fun. The second one sucked.
Yeah. But the end of it was fun. The before was fun. I didn't
I
find
enjoyed
doing
the
it.
during it.
I mean, some points because we got to go through Disney.
And the back way of Disney. Oh, do you remember I remember we were in Epcot and you come to the giant ball and you can hear the screaming of the crowd. That was funny.
Yeah.
But that was exciting. I remember we have our pictures from Phineas and Ferb. I remember peeing my pants a little. That was not pleasant. I was like, I gotta stop.
That was a lot of information.
I'm saying it happens.
Okay, yes.
Don't be embarrassed.
No. But yeah, I was going to say, like, not all of the process was fun. I think it was sense of accomplishment was really great. But I think that's what it comes down to. It was the sense of accomplishment when it was done. That was so exciting. And yes, there were parts of it that was fun too. But
my time's down to the Grand Canyon now. The journey, I don't remember. I mean, I kind of, when I have to reflect when we're going to go down again in a couple of weeks, I don't, I do reflect. Okay, how did I do this last time? Okay, I have to do this, that, and the other thing. But it's the actual event that I just love. Hence, I'm doing it for the third time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Gordon says that too, but he still comes. You know, I will say this, going down to the Grand Canyon, and being down there, the people who are down there are my people. Let's put it that way.
Oh, I was going to say, are they crazy?
Probably.
And then you're like, my people. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it is your people, Joanne. Yeah.
Okay.
I will leave it at that.
All right.
This
was fun. I actually really enjoyed this. That was fun.
I will say this with the journey and the destination, because I always hated that. I just remember this one woman. It's about the journey, not the destination. I'm telling you,
I
it's
don't
about the journey. And that...
But I only brought it up because there are some people
but we only have 55 subscribers. But I think you can have both, is what I'm saying.
Right. And I think what I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of people that don't enjoy the journey. And I'm like, there's no reason you can't enjoy the journey. Right. You can enjoy the journey. And yeah, sometimes you get to the destination and you're like, is this all? There's a song I love. It's called, Is This All There Is? Is this all there is? You can still relish in the journey and everything like that. Because, yeah, sometimes you get to the destination, you're like...
You get the best goddamn lemonade at Phantom Ranch. I'm just saying, you can't get that lemonade anywhere.
Okay. There's
Ask any hiker who's been down there. They'll say it.
There's a whole thing about brides that plan their big weddings and everything like that, and they go through like a postpartum afterwards.
Okay.
Because they got to the destination and now they feel let down because it's over and what now and all the stuff. I mean,
I
maybe
feel
that's a whole
January and February.
Yeah. I think that it's important to realize that, like, even when you get to the destination, there's more to come afterwards. So it's just
you get to plan the next trip to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
No, that's hard to get reservations. I stay in the cabins. I don't camp. That to me is insane.
Maybe one day when you go again, I'll go and just stay in the cabin. I'll stand on the top going, go, Joanne! Woohoo!
Okay.
You can do it.
I have so much to say on it, but that's another podcast.
We'll have to do a recording telling us about your adventure, okay? Take video, take pictures.
Yeah, I plan to.
All right.
I don't know if I have any. I have so much more to say on it. I was like, oh, well, the inner canyon, you can't really get, because it looks small when you're down there. It looks like you didn't go too far because there's an upper canyon that everybody, the tourist sees. And then there's this inner canyon, which you can see from above. But when you're down there, you don't really see the upper. So you don't see that you just came down straight down a mile. And it's frustrating when you want to say, look, I went all this way, and the videos look like, okay, you went up a hill. Anyway, the end.
Okay. Well, I was going to say we should definitely do an episode talking about it because I think that would be exciting.
Yeah. So that's the end of our 3-part series on New Year's resolution. I hope you got something out of it.
I did.
There was a lot of tips in there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of information in there.
I've been writing more focused in a more focused way than I used to about getting towards my goals. So,
did you set one for this year for 2026? You don't have to share it.
I'm still deciding. I do, but it needs to be narrowed down a little bit because sometimes I feel like I got pie in the sky. Too big. Sometimes I hate saying too big, but like in other words, I have only so many. Like it doesn't quite fit my parameters, so I have to narrow it down. Like in other words, I think sometimes you could write a goal.
Yep.
And you're on the right track, but maybe you need to have it.
What do you mean have it?
Based on the parameters that you are creating.
Mm-hmm.
I could say I have a goal. I want to, I don't know, start a pastry shop.
Make this podcast 1 million subscribers. All right, I don't think that's going to happen.
And I look at it like, and I want to commit to 15 minutes a day to it. That's what I'm talking about. So maybe it's about yes, it could be kind of the same, but just change what the goal is a little bit. So that way it fits more into the parameters of what you can commit. If you can't commit.
Maybe that's it, is creating a space for you, a half hour a day. That's just for you, whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. Explore.
Well, I always felt like when it came to making the parameters for creating a goal, Joanne, are you supposed to be working on your goals?
No, that's to remind me to take my Estivan for my menopause hot flashes.
I should do that. But I was going to say is I find that when you're writing out your parameters, which is that first episode, of what are you willing to do in order to reach a goal. Part of it is time. What is your time commitment? So if you're only willing to spend 15 minutes a day, I'm telling you, 15 minutes a day is a lot of time when it comes to accumulatively. But if you have an expectation, like say, I want to lose 100 pounds in a year, and I'm only willing to commit 15 minutes a day.
Fair.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying that's going to be a rough go.
Yeah.
So I think that, you gotta look at it.
What did you say? Oh, one of the things I also wanted to do, which is kind of interesting. This is going to be my word for 2026. Ooh. Abundance. It keeps coming up. Word. Yeah. Well, my friend said it to me around August, September. And I was like, for our organization we're in, we have to do fundraising. And she says, we can't go at it at a negative. We need this. We have to go out of it as we're abundant. We have so much as it is. Let's see if we can bring in more. And I like that. Mm. And I've been hearing the word here and there from other parts. And I listened to Gem Goddess on YouTube. Have you heard of her? She's quite good. She's, I don't know about these astrologers, although my daughter just did one and it was crazy good for the year. By the way, Danielle, it was pretty intense. But she said this in it. Because she puts out different cards and you choose the section. This one speaks to me, and then she gives you a reading for that one. And there's other ones. But this is where it came out. I went, oh my God, this is my 2026. What if the best thing happens? And what can I do right now to ensure that the best thing happens? To me, that's a definition of abundance. And I think that's because I have a lot going on. I listed everything I wanted to, and there are 25 very big things that are happening this year. 25. That's like more than 2 a month, about 2 a month. So
I haven't planned that far in advance. I'm going with the flow.
I have to for this organization.
Yeah.
And that's another story.
All right, Joanne, let's cut it. Because now we're getting into that fabulous section of where we're just like talking about life and eating popcorn.
Love my popcorn.
All right.
Point.
Don't forget to subscribe. If you've been on here this long, you should be subscribed.
Yes.
You crazy, crazy mofo. But yeah, we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.